Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy, and this is my performance review of the Why Not .6. So this is Russell Westbrook's 6th signature shoe with Jordan Brand. And retail, well, okay, so specifically this colorway, the Honor the Gift colorway, retails for 150 bucks. The regular general release colorways are 140 bucks, but it's pretty funny because it's on sale already for, let's see, 119 bucks on Nike.com right now. I just checked it. So hopefully that sale is still going on once this video is out, but yeah, it's already on sale, which is pretty crazy. So I don't think it's doing so hot, you know what I mean? And the last two signature shoes or signature shoe lines from Jordan Brand that have been cut were the Melos, Carmelo Anthony's signature shoe line, and also Chris Paul's, which kind of sucks because they were actually pretty good, but yeah, we might not see Russell Westbrook's signature shoe. I mean, I don't know how long his contract is with Jordan Brand, but I don't think the sales are doing too hot, right? So if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the Tracciones. And in this color, we have translucent rubber and also solid rubber, right? So here in the forefoot, we have this like zigzag line. It reminds me a lot of the One Take 4, which came out first, but I'm sure the One Take 4 design, like the overall shoe design and also the outsole design was influenced by the actual signature shoe, which is the Why Not .6, right? So we have like a lightning bolt kind of pattern right here in the forefoot, and then we have kind of like a nubby pattern of where the translucent rubber is, and it says it's herringbone on the Nike website, which is pretty interesting. And then we have the Jordan Jumpman logo here in the heel. So how is the traction? So the traction was absolutely horrendous when I first got, not horrendous, but I just wasn't having a good time. I wasn't getting a good stop. It was sliding around a little bit, not terrible, you know what I mean, but just, it wasn't as good as I would like, you know what I mean? It wasn't even like, I would say it's good, you know, but it's been raining a lot, right? It's been humid, and also it's been like kind of not raining. It's been on and off here in California, but we've been getting a lot of rain, right? So for the first couple of times I played in, I wasn't having a good time, but then once I started break it in, playing it a little bit more, and then it started to get really humid, and the courts are super clean and squeaky, humid and stuff like that. I was getting some good bites, y'all. I never say y'all, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, so I guess if you're playing on a clean court, and once you do break in the outsole, the traction is good, right? So I didn't really have any problems with that. I was actually very surprised. There also is a little bit of squeak once you break it in, not super crazy or anything like that. Most of the time it's just silent. It's just when it was like super humid, you know, on the court when it was raining and stuff like that. On dust, however, you know, like I said, it was on and off. So on days where it wasn't raining, right, it was a little bit more dry, it was a little bit more dusty on the court. I was having the same issues when I first started playing in the shoe. So on dust, it definitely is not the best, and also it's not super easy to wipe off. You know what I mean? It's just you really have to get in there and wipe off the outsole. So dust performance was not great in this colorway, and also durability. Okay, so the nub. Where the nub traction is, I don't think it's gonna be very good, you know what I mean, because it's nubs. Nubs usually aren't very durable, even on outdoor courts. And then I guess the black part, you know, where the lightning bolt is, the rubber is a little bit harder, and I guess the grooves are pretty deep. So that part should be fine, but the nubs probably not. So on outdoor use, this outsole probably isn't the best, you know. So as far as the overall traction performance, if you're playing on a clean court, you should be good to go. You have some pretty good, I wouldn't say it's top tier, but you got some pretty solid bite. And also remember to break it in, you know, just give it a couple of days, maybe like a week or two, just to really break it in. But if you're playing on a dusty court, probably not the best. I mean, it wasn't terrible or anything, but you can make it work if you don't mind like kind of sliding around a little bit. Like I said, it wasn't terrible, like sliding out or slipping out like crazy. But if you need instantaneous stops and really good traction, really good stops, then on dust it's not great, and outdoor use is not the best. So for me personally, when I was playing on a clean court, when it was super humid and stuff, I had a good time. When it wasn't, I didn't really have a good time, you know. And then also here in the middle of the outsole, pretty much, I guess it is a decoupled outsole. I guess right here it's kind of decoupled, right? And then we have a midfoot chain plate, right, for torsion support, but we also have a good amount of, look at that, it flexes so much here in the midfoot as well, and also like in the forefoot a little bit. So as far as the heel to toe transition goes, it's pretty smooth, right? So here in the heel we have a nice curved shape. The phylon is, or the foam is pretty exposed, although the outsole does come up to cage the foam a little bit. We have a pretty smooth heel, and then the forefoot is pretty damn smooth, and then a good amount of forefoot and midfoot flex, right? I didn't really have any issues with like my arch hurting or my foot hurting. But if you do need torsion support, then obviously this isn't the best option. But overall, heel to toe transition is pretty damn smooth, especially because of the forefoot zoom unit, which we'll get into, right? So moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is it's pretty nice. You know what I mean? It's a little too, okay, so The 4-foot zoom unit I like. It feels like a large volume zoom unit, and you can really feel it, right? But it kind of reminds me of the Zoom GT Run, where it like protrudes out a lot. So it kind of like feels like it bulges up in the 4-foot, and like my 4-foot feels like it's kind of coming up a little bit, which I don't like. It just feels weird. So usually it kind of like, it dips in a little bit more into the 4-foot, and then you have that zoom unit, so it kind of feels like more flat, you know what I mean, in most shoes, right? But here in the Why Not 0.6 and also in the Zoom GT Run, it kind of like bulges up, and my 4-foot feels almost a little bit higher than the heel, which is a weird feeling. So yeah, don't really like that. But if you want a lot of compression and a lot of bounce in the 4-foot, then I guess this is good. But just keep in mind that bulging 4-foot, right? In the heel, there's nothing, you know, the Phylon, not a whole lot of compression. Heel strikes, not the best. Overall core feel is all right. I would say it's around average, maybe a little bit worse than average, but not amazing core feel or anything like that. And then of course, like off the first step, you have that explosiveness from the actual zoom unit because it is bouncy, right? So overall, I mean, I did like it at times because there is a lot of bounce and compression from the 4-foot zoom unit, but I didn't like that bulging feeling, right? So it was all right for me for the cushioning setup. It was like on and off. I liked it and I didn't like it sometimes, you know? All right, moving on to the materials. So the materials are a combination. There's a lot of materials on this upper, right? So we have a combination of like suede, synthetic leather as well, and then this like for the shroud, it's like a ripstop upper. So basically what a ripstop upper is if it tears, or it's resistant to tearing, but then if it does tear, it's also very resistant to tear more. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like Cordura fabric, but it's super duper thin. It's basically see-through, right? And then obviously we have the zipper with the shroud, and then underneath that we have a very open type of mesh material, and then of course the laces go over that, right? And so quality wise, this is the kind of more expensive option. You know, Honor the Gift, you got some like leather or suede touches and stuff, which is, it's not amazing, you know what I mean, for the quality, but I feel like it'll be better than like the general release colorways, you know, but it's still not great, right? And then I guess we got some textile here on the medial side, but also this isn't the greatest for quality. It feels still kind of cheap and also like on the tongue, you know, but it's extremely thin. Look at that, super duper thin. This ripstop upper and also the mesh is really thin, conforms to your foot extremely well. So I do like how it feels on foot, right? But it's not supportive at all, right? It's really not supportive. It's stretchy, and I had kind of the same problem I had in the One Take 4, you know what I mean? And that shoe was amazing besides like the support from the upper, which we'll get into. Of course, this zipper, we have, it's literally like 2-3 inches long. It doesn't do anything, you know what I mean? Like this does nothing. And also the shroud is useless. I mean, besides for looks, it's so freaking annoying lacing the shoe up. You know what I mean? You like, okay, so my foot's not in here, so I can literally put my fingers in here, but once my foot's in here, I can't really fit my fingers inside of the shroud and actually like try to tighten the laces here, like for the first couple of eyelets. So I can't really tighten this at all, which is really annoying because I need more support here because it's just mesh, you know what I mean? The tongue, we have kind of like, you know, the off-white vibe, and then we have like a tag, right? This little tag, which kind of is asymmetrical, which is pretty weird. And then in the ankle area, we have like one singular Achilles pad, kinda, right? And it's not super nice. There is a little bit of padding, but it's not like super gel-like or anything, but it does improve heel lockdown, which does feel nice. So I guess like on foot, it does feel pretty nice if you like thin materials and something that conforms to your foot very well, but it's not super supportive, and also the material quality isn't the best, right? All right, moving on to the fit. I went true to size and actually runs pretty long, you know what I mean? So there is a good amount of length, so I would suggest going down half a size if you want a super snug fit, and I feel like I could have gone down half a size. So yeah, if you want a more snug fit, then go down half a size. If you want a little bit more of a roomier fit, then probably go true to size, right? Width-wise, I would say it's around normal width, and also here in the toe box, so it's weird, right? So it fits me pretty well. It feels like a snug fit, but like I said, this ripstop upper and also the mesh is super stretchy and doesn't feel very supportive. It's not as bad as the One Take 4, but it's still not super supportive. So I could curl my toes up a good amount, which I didn't like, right? So overall fit was not great for me, you know what I mean? I feel like, you know, maybe if I would have gone down half a size, I would have liked the shoe a little bit more. So just be careful on that. If you have a wide foot or you want a roomy, like super roomy fit in the toe box, maybe, I mean, you should be okay going true to size, but if you want to be safe, probably go up a full size, right? And now moving on to the support and lockdown, right? So support and lockdown, so lateral containment, I was good to go, right? Doing lateral movements, like if you see all the lateral counters in the shoe, we have the foam coming up, we have the synthetic leather material. So I was good to go. here in the forefoot, here in the heel, we also have the foam coming up here in the midfoot as well, and also an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment, my foot wasn't moving out of the footbed or anything at all, right? But the thing is, this material, like I keep saying, is not supportive. So my foot, so here's the material, right? And since this top layer of material isn't super supportive, when I was doing lateral movements, you know, your foot, or my foot, would kind of go like this, obviously, just because you're doing this movement when you're doing lateral movements, right? Crossover, step backs and stuff like that, cuts, and like my foot would just go sideways, like sideways or diagonally inside of the shoe. You know what I mean? And that did not feel good, you know? I don't think it has anything to do with the fit, like a looser fit, just because, like I said, it was like a snug fit besides like it being like a stretchy type of material. So yeah, that was really annoying actually, you know? So if you're doing a lot of lateral movements, this shoe will not feel good. I didn't like that at all. If you don't do a whole lot of lateral movements, if you just go like straight to the rack, or I guess if you're just a spot on shooter or something like that, then you should be fine. But if you're doing a lot of lateral movements, then you're not gonna feel good in this, right? Lateral stability, I was good to go. You know, you have a pretty wide base, even though there's not a crazy outrigger. The midsole does protrude out a good amount here in the forefoot on the lateral side, so you do have a wide base. So I was fine for lateral stability. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. If I remember correctly, I think it was like around average weight. Yeah, a little bit heavier, 13.02 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 13.12 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So 13 ounces. It's a little bit heavier than average, but pretty much average weight. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel super heavy or bulky, which is good. You know, overall, it does feel minimal as far as the upper goes, but it doesn't feel super responsive, right? So the traction, sometimes it was not amazing. Other times it was really good, you know, when it was really clean, very humid, but other times it wasn't great, right? And also because of that lateral, like, containment, what is that? Like, I guess it's more like the material not being supported, but like my foot moving inside of the shoe, like diagonally or whatever, when I was doing hard lateral movements, was really annoying as well. So because of that, I didn't feel very quick when I was playing in the shoe, which sucks. So there's that. Moving on to the ventilation, super duper good. I mean, through this ripstop material and also this mesh material, a lot of airflow. So ventilation is pretty damn good in the shoe. And moving on to the aesthetics, I actually like it. I feel like it's one of Russell Westbrook's best signature shoes in his entire line as far as the aesthetics go. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, I mean, I didn't like it, honestly. Traction and cushion, sometimes I did like it, but also at times I didn't like it. Fit, not for me. The support, like the support of the material, not for me. Material quality, not great. So yeah, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, when it was super squeaky clean, I kind of enjoyed, I was like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I mean? But the other times I really didn't like playing in the shoe, right? So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to you guys. And I guess the only reason I would say to get it is if you play like Russell Westbrook and you just go straight to the rack and you're super explosive, I guess. But other than that, for a guard, probably not the best. And then also if you're a bigger dude, probably not the best. So anyways, that about concludes my review of the Why Not 0.6. If you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.